Welcome to Lost on Ice, the show about the show 20 years later. Today we're talking about Season 2, Episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4. My name is Will. Also here is Ben, and you, the listener and viewer, can watch full video episodes of the podcast on YouTube. Ben and I also release a bonus hangout show every week that can be found at patreon.com/Dr. Skeleton. I am hunkering down in my bedroom today rather than in my studio, but that's okay. We'll push through. I'm kind of in my own little bunker, as it were. We got into the bunker this week, Ben.
Nice. It is dark behind you, but I can't tell if this is artificial light for you.
It is. Yep, I got artificial light going.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we did. I'm sorry. I'm slow on the uptake today because I've been holding myself back all week from messaging you about the episodes that we watched because these, little spoiler, some of my favorite episodes, I think, from what I remember.
Really?
I think these are, yes, I think these are great episodes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I gotta say, I was very surprised by what we got served up this week because I guess I thought the mystery of the island was going to be this like really long and drawn out thing. Like there's going to be like, I thought we wouldn't get answers for months of doing this show, of doing the podcast. I thought we'd have to see like literally like 100 episodes before we got to know like more about what's going on at all. But there's a lot that happens. We get some answers about the hatch. Your boy was right. There was a lab under there, and it does have something to do with the phenomenon of the island.
Sure.
Although in retrospect, like, I guess my theory was just like, yeah, I think that hatch is like connected to something. It's like, yeah, it was connected to something.
Damn, this has nothing to do with this show at all. It's just a room filled with episodes of The Simpsons or something like that.
Yeah, never mind. It turned out to be nothing. Yeah.
Back to that cable.
We do, right? We do get a couple of potential villains that pop up in these episodes. Bunker Man and the New Island Strangers, and that was kind of like a fun element of the things happening tip too, where like I thought like, okay, season 2 episode 1 we see Bunker Man activities, and I'm like, okay, he's gonna be like an antagonist all season long, and we're gonna get like a little bit of information at the very end or something. And then we get a lot about him pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then same with the others that show up too. It's like, okay, the Jin's running from, and like, okay, these are gonna be this specter that's haunting the island the rest of the show too. And like, we don't have all their answers and stuff, but like, we find out they're not villains per se.
Sure.
Early on enough, or at least we know so far. Yeah. I guess I'm trying to track like the other sort of predictions I made last week, and I feel like I wasn't like too crazy with some of them.
Yeah. I don't remember all of them either, or most of them I don't remember, but I'm going to say similarly, you weren't far off. I feel like
I'll just say I was dead on.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's just jump right into him.
Yeah.
Season 2, Episode 1, Man of Science, Man of Faith. Airing September 21st, 2005, directed by Jack Bender, who's ending up directing, he seems to be directing most of these now, and written by Big D, Damon Lindelof. This was, I think, the most watched episode in the entire series.
Yeah. It makes sense, yeah. It is, I think, the best. I don't watch a lot of TV, and this is just a general vibe thing since it's one of the last episodes of TV I saw. Uh, but I would say it's the best season opener of a TV series I've ever seen. I like it much more than the season 1 opener. Yeah,
Really?
I love the intro to this one, and
Oh, very good.
yeah,
Very good. That the song, the Make Your Own Kind of Music, playing by Mama Cass Elliot.
yeah.
The rare,
What would you be
good
listening to?
Lindelof needle drop.
That's also true. Yeah, a lot of them suck. What would you be listening to down there, or what would you
I mean,
stock in the bunker if you were the dude stocking it?
I would be listening to royalty-free hold music.
Yeah.
No. I mean, after hearing that, like that's a great choice. That's such a good song for that. And actually on bunker music, the Michael Giacchino, the musician or composer who does the music for this show, I think really like kicked it up a notch for this season. We're getting a lot more like melodic scores through this season so far. Like the bunker has its own theme that actually reminds me of, I had to figure out, like go back and figure out which one, but it reminds me of obviously I'm not talking about the Make Your Own Kind of Music. It's more like the score one, but there's like this rising and falling droning that's like sound that's like, oh, that's that Run the Jewels song, and I wrote it down, and it's the one with Gangsta Boo off Run the Jewels 2. Oh my gosh. I wrote it. Where is it? It's like, Oh My Darling. I think that's what it is. And yeah, impossible to pull a clip from that song to play on this show that would be remotely appropriate to play. Okay, Love Again. That's what it is. Love Again with Gangsta Boo, R.I.P. Anyway, what song would you play?
I don't. I would be the wise man and bring more than one song, probably. But
You can't say you wish for more songs.
yes, I can. I'm bringing a whole LP. I'm not bringing a single. Something like that. I don't know. Wasn't prepared for this question at all.
During my whole stalling of figuring out what Run the Jewels song
I listened. I was listening in my heart, hoping for you to figure it out.
Yeah, you're doing active listening.
I can only do one thing at a time. I've been listening to a lot of Teresa Teng lately, so that's what I would bring. Fun for
Sounds good.
Fun for no one but me.
That's kind of the podcast ethos.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about this episode. What happens here? Jack's mistrust of Locke grows as he continues to question his motives and obsession in uncovering the secrets of the mysterious hatch. After the hatch blows, Jack manages to get everyone to return to camp with him, but Locke can't wait any longer, returning to the hatch that night with Kate. Jack decides to follow Locke and Kate and finds himself in the middle of a most bizarre standoff. And we get this introduction to the episode that you referenced,
Yeah.
and it is set to this song, Make Your Own Kind of Music. And a man wakes up in a mysterious setting filled with objects from various decades. He begins his routine, exercising, showering, and
Objects from
this
various
is vaccinating himself.
Objects from various decades is another one of those. Wikipedia editor and I had different
Here's a
reads.
sentence. Here's just some words.
I feel like one, I probably have a lot of objects from different decades around me too, but also two, I'm very dumb because I just read everything as like the past. These are all things from the past, things before I was around,
Yeah.
Did not clock that, If you put me in,
Yeah, I guess me either.
If you put me in like a
An antique store.
Victorian house or something like that, and then you threw in some stuff from let's just call it antiquity. It's just a Victorian house to me, you know? Don't know the difference. I don't know the difference between anything between the beginning of time and about 1960 or so. It's all roughly the same.
Sure, why not? Objects from various decades does seem like a very like filler phrase there. So I guess he like injects himself with something, and the summary says here that he's vaccinating himself. An explosion disrupts his day, causing him to arm himself and use a telescope to spot Jack Shepherd and John Locke standing around a newly opened hatch shaft.
An explosion disrupting his day is very similar to when Michael's trip across the world is interrupted by getting hit by a car. He just kind of woke up, you know. I wouldn't say that would have ruined my day at that point, you know. That's just your.
It's
that's
disrupted his day. He's
just your day at that point, though. You know, you aren't doing anything else.
Yeah. But okay, here's the big takeaway I've gotten from this summary though is that we were arguing last week about what we would call the hatch, I suppose, and they're saying shaft. We said passageway.
The shaft is a good one.
Shaft is probably the right word.
I called it a vent, right?
Yeah,
shaft and vent are pretty similar.
Moving on, the flashbacks focus on Jack's past. Jack's hair, dude. I loved Jack's old hair. Is so funny. He has some goofy ass.
They made a lot of money off of that first season, so they were able to afford him a good little toupee or whatever.
We're gonna give you hair plugs for this, but then like shave it immediately. Yeah, we're gonna give you the Joe Buck, big dog. He encounters his future wife Sarah in the emergency room after a car accident. Is this the right episode? For some reason I'm like totally blanking. Okay, good. I thought we got this like a while ago. Okay, good, cool. He encounters his future wife Sarah in the emergency room after a car accident. Jack saves her life, but tells her she may never walk again due to a spinal cord injury. After being criticized by his father for his pessimistic approach, Jack performs surgery on Sarah. Yeah, so he's Christian Shepherd, Dr. Christian Shepherd, put some respect on his name, I suppose, talks to Jack in the hallway about like his bedside manner maybe being very shitty.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Obviously. I don't think it has improved, to be honest. It's difficult to believe that it's improved, but I guess it is true that it has. Like when you see him on the island, I suppose it is better than how he treated his future wife, Sarah, which is, I presume, was on the clipboard. He's like, oh, are you my future wife, Sarah? Mm-hmm. Your name appears to be Sarah Shepherd. That's telling of us.
Guy thinking he's seeing the future, but hitting on his cousin.
Yeah.
So, but he's like, you have a 2% chance of living. And Mr. Christian's like, dog, don't frame it like that. But she won't survive.
Yeah.
It's just hitting me now that man of science, comma, man of faith sounds like he's referring to Jack and Locke.
I think it's his dad.
It's
Jack and his dad.
Yeah.
Because his dad's name is Christian Shepherd.
Nice.
That's how you can tell it's referring to him.
I think it's referring to Jack, both clauses.
Okay.
He is a man of science and a man of faith, I guess it's not in this episode, but a little bit. He gets faith. He gets faithed. But he's running at a stadium, and this is something that only happens in movies or like commercials. Is where like
they let you in there.
Where do you go to like run around a stadium like that?
Yeah.
Can you just do that?
That's a big.
They open to the public.
To be fair though, if he's working at like a university, that's maybe like the only way this works. But I agree. They got a lot of like randos running in in movies inside of stadiums. And like, they're not going to let you in there. Well, I thought they wouldn't let you in there.
Let's go training.
Shelly took me to her. Shelly went to BC, and we went there one time, and we just walked in.
You just walked on the field?
Yeah, we could have just walked on the field, but I was scared. I was like, I don't think we should be here. And Shelly's like, well, if you couldn't be here, why would they just leave the door open?
That's not. Do you? There's this guy on TikTok who like just tries to like walk on, like college football, stadiums and stuff.
Yeah,
and it's very much like, yeah, you mostly can't unless you like. I don't know. It's not just like you can just walk in. They're mostly locked down
during a game. Like, is that what you're talking about?
No,
he just travels.
No, like where you around. If you were gonna go. Yeah, if you were gonna go pull a jack.
Okay.
If you're gonna jack around, as they say.
Yeah.
Could you just get onto the field? And he tries to find like a door that's propped open, like in a back entrance kind of thing for maintenance people or something, and just like wanders around. And like, yeah, that's kind of my impression of how most of these fields are. But you always get like, oh, let's go train at the stadium.
Yeah.
I'm getting the sense that this show isn't necessarily perfectly realistic.
Have you heard of the Patriot Act characters in the year 2004?
Sillies. So while later running at a stadium, Jack meets Desmond, who encourages him to have more hope. A Scottish guy.
Is that what he is? He's always
Is he not?
Yeah, you're probably right. But when I watched this show originally and up until possibly just now, I've always thought of him as Australian. Even though I'm very familiar that the actor is not.
See you in another life, brother.
Yeah. But it's kind of a goofy accent, you know? He doesn't sound like a regular Scottish guy, I'll say that.
Wikipedia told me his last name, which is I think I would have caught it if it was said in these episodes. I think we're gonna reveal.
Is it Hume?
Yeah,
I think they. Yeah, maybe I'm just remembering that, but I'm pretty sure they told us that somewhere.
Are you fucking kidding me, dude? This motherfucker's name is Hume. We got a Hume and a Locke in the same damn room.
We got other people
facing up.
We've got other people too, I think, don't we? We've got other philosophers, as we've discussed. They've got that guy they've got that Slavoj Žižek guy on the beach, the background character.
You said that was a philosopher. That's not a philosopher. That there isn't anybody named Arst.
Okay, fine. Pretty sure there was.
Okay.
I read a Wikipedia page about an old. Let's just say he's from antiquity again. Let's use that phrase again.
Okay. Fine. Jack returns to find Sarah has made a miraculous recovery.
Yeah. She's like, Are you fucking with me? Why can I wiggle my toes then? After he's like, I gotta let you know, you're toast. I'm sorry I couldn't do it. And then she's
like, oh yeah? Check
her.
out my feet.
Yeah, and then he gets nose down in the feet, and then he's like poking her legs. He's like, can you feel? Is that actually? No, I don't want to know. I was going to ask if that's what those type of guys are into, if it's the smell, but I don't really want to know.
Hey, can you feel this?
They're very gross. But he's poking her, and I feel like that would have been a good.
Some would say it's natural.
That'd be a good time for a double cross as a paralyzed person. You're like, he's like, oh wow, you could feel it. I'm so happy, and then just psych, you dumbass, you didn't fix me up at all. I'm paralyzed for the rest of my life.
Oh, that old gambit that we see time and time again. Yeah. Okay. On the island, Locke and Jack debate whether to enter the hatch immediately or wait. Yeah. Locke wants to go.
Wait, sorry. This is reminded me about this time. So Desmond's interrupted, And he sees, it's implied or shown, I don't know, somewhere in between there, that he can see sort of the characters on the outside because he looks through like a telescope thing, but at a bunch of mirrors, right? Like mirrors facing one another.
He doesn't see the outside.
Well,
He can't see the outside. This is his internal security system. Instead of cameras, he's got mirrors.
well, he's got mirrors, but he's looking through a telescope through at the mirrors, which point at one another, and then
I mean, it's like periscope. Really.
periscope. But but the mirrors. Help me describe this better. The mirrors are pointing at one another, so theoretically, you could, like, they're aligned, so you could see the people at the top.
Oh yeah, you can see like the entrance. Yeah. Sorry, yeah. I thought you meant like he's got like mirrors all over the island that he's monitoring the island.
No. Okay. But he could see the entrance through them. And Shelley asked me to stop at that point because she had a question for me. And then she asked, "Is that possible?" And I assumed she was talking about like the events of Lost, or like, is it possible to have an underground bunker? Or is it possible for him to have a periscope in the bunker? And then she clarified that she meant, could you look through a periscope at mirrors and see to the top? And I said yes, but I have been thinking about it a lot. It's possible you could do that. I don't know if it works very well, though. I don't quite understand the value of the periscope that much, but yeah.
What do you mean? So you can see over there?
Yeah, but you're looking at the mirrors, you know? So like you could zoom in on the first mirror, but you can't, you could look through the periscope, kind of zoom in on the first mirror, but that's not going to help you that much with the mirrors after. I know that's not quite right, but I don't think it work. I don't think it would work very well.
I don't think I'm understanding. The mirrors are there so they can see what's at the.
I know, but that's the question. Does it actually work? Does it work?
Can you point mirrors at mirrors and see what the mirrors are seeing?
What the mirrors are seeing. But
can you see what's in the mirrors?
Many mirrors. It's established that there's a lot of mirrors.
Yeah.
And I know that you can,
are you wondering about how much light are you losing? Because you are losing light.
That's what I'm talking about. With that many mirrors, how practical is it to actually see what's at the entrance?
I mean, I guess I just now you got me.
Yeah.
You got me wondering. Okay. I think like in principle, you can like if you get like high quality mirrors, you can set up mirrors and you'd be looking at stuff.
But you need some light.
I think, yeah, you need some light. Or light rays need to be reflected into it and stuff.
And they got to be clean. They got to be clean.
Sure. I think that this is kind of like a version of like could Ethan Hunt really jump that far? Could Tom Cruise really? it's like like you get the point. Like he jumps from this building into that window. Like could this setup see that? I don't know, but like could mirrors reflect images? Yeah,
but okay. It was a choice to do that, to have so many mirrors. It could have just been one mirror, Why doesn't he just look at one mirror that's facing the top at like a 45-degree angle? They chose to have more mirrors.
There's like hallways and what? There's like corners they need to get around. All right. We are. Who knew that? Like you're doing a Lost podcast 20 years later. Like what hasn't been said about this show?
Yeah.
Like, I guess how many mirrors did Desmond really need? is something that we need to get. Meanwhile, also Hatch is capitalized every time in this summary, which is very funny to me. I don't know. Okay. Meanwhile, Shannon and Saeed search for Walt's dog. Vincent, come on. Vincent the dog. And Shannon has a vision of a dripping wet Walt.
Are we sure it's a vision?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's a vision. I thought he could be there. I guess if he
kind
he
of
would probably be
established
that wet.
people are having visions, sort of
Yeah.
establish that, sort of with, Christian shepherd on the island previously. Have we had any other ones?
Yeah.
At this point, can't remember.
It's kind of weird how that just got dropped, right?
Jack's moving on, but Jack doesn't want to believe,
Yeah. How come he can't?
Jack is not a man of
I thought that was going to be
science,
like
I gotta say.
that White Rabbit episode was going to be like him. That should have been his like conversion there. You're like, okay, that's why I like that episode so much. But then he just like immediately goes back to his old bullshit.
Well, that's believable though, right? People don't want to be convinced. It's like QAnon people. When it fails, you double down. That's kind of what Jack's doing.
Oh man, I've got a teaser for the Patreon. I've got a story to tell about. Speaking of QAnon, I'll be giving you the real the real inside scoop. No, so like, okay, we're recording this Sunday, September 15th. Like just an hour ago or so, I got a news alert that there was a shooting at the Trump's golf course or something. Yeah, and I don't have any information to give on that. I just have a funny story to tell about a real-time reaction to the news.
You're establishing an alibi right now. Sounds like.
Yeah. The news came in about an hour ago, and I'll give you my exact location.
Cedar Rapids. It would be impossible for any civilian to travel that far and that long.
That's right. I'll give you a timestamp for this episode right now. I was nowhere near that place. Okay. Shanna has a vision of a dripping wet Walt who is speaking incoherently, though the other survivors dismiss her account. Jack reassures, which at some point, it can't just be Jack who's like, shut the fuck up. You're not seeing anything. Like there's got to be more people in there that's like, the stuff that happened to Claire should have a larger impact on people, I think. Like if I was in the group of survivors and Claire was like, oh my gosh, they can take my baby. At first I'd be like, okay, she's being crazy. She's having nightmares. She's probably just nervous. I would immediately discount anything she has. Just kidding. But like, I would,
yeah,
maybe if I was skeptical at first, but then like we do find out, yeah, someone was trying to get her baby.
Sure.
and all that. So I think from then on, I would probably
still not listen to her.
What people have to say.
Still not listen to Claire, but you would believe that there are people on the island.
I would hear what the men have to say,
and check in with the guys.
Yeah. All right, fellas, circle up. She might, that Australian might
that
be
hysterical person over there, a hysterical woman. She's wrong, but we need to figure out what's going on.
We're not gonna, yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't all just be like, Shannon, what are you talking about? You didn't see anything out there. It's like, so too many weird things have happened for like the general vibe to be, yeah. So Jack reassures the survivors that they'll be safe, digging deep for some bedside manner, and Locke enters the hatch with Kate following him. However, during their descent, Kate disappears in a flash of light. Jack, now determined to find Kate and Locke, enters the hatch and encounters strange phenomena, including a magnetic wall and an old computer.
Not sure I would call those phenomena. Those are things that are not strange, but just seemingly out of place.
This old computer is phenomena to me.
Magnets, I gotta say, even in 2004, are not phenomena anymore.
Yeah, there is a lot of like,
what is this?
Whoa.
It's a magnet.
It's a
magnet.
Magnet, dude. Locke appears and warns Jack not to touch the computer. Suddenly, a gunman threatens Locke, and Jack refuses to surrender, taunting Locke about his faith and destiny. Yeah. The gunman is revealed to be Desmond, whom Jack recognizes from their earlier meeting. like back in the day when he gave him the faith. Desmond says that he's getting ready for a race around the world.
He doesn't. I feel like it kind of happens at the same time, but the way they cut it makes it seem like Jack recognizes Desmond because he calls him brother in a Scottish or possibly Australian accent. What's he say?
It's true. He says brother.
But no, I'm just saying the way they cut it makes it's not the face. It's just
it's because he says brother.
No one's ever called me brother
I agree.
before. Yeah.
I agree with your interpretation.
Is it that strange of a phrase though? You know, I feel like that's a thing.
But I think that like that's the last piece of the puzzle. It's not just because he says brothers. But
he doesn't see his face until after he realizes.
He does.
No. He doesn't see the face until after.
Okay.
What does he say though? I can't remember before he says brother. We're down the gun, brother.
Bane voice. Yeah. I wouldn't do that if I were you, brother. It's something
kind
like
of like a Sean Connery. I mean, Sean Connery kind of sounds like Bane too. You know, when you put it that way.
Sean Connery's Scottish.
Well, I know Bane.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it's occurred to me that Bane kind of sounds like a Scottish guy, like Desmond Hume or Sean Connery.
Fighting tooth and nail to keep this on the rails. What was I going to say about Desmond? Oh, the race around the world. In the flashback, he tells Jack that he's training for a race around the world, and
sailing race.
Well, he didn't say sailing. He just said he's getting ready for a race around
later on. Yeah,
yeah. And so the theory that Zoe and I thought at the time, Zoe said this, and I was like, "This is smart," and I agree with it. So I'm also going to take credit. Is that he's like going around like incepting each survivor. Like this Scottish guy is gonna encounter each one of the survivors at some point and like somehow set them on a course to showing up on this island. And that's what that race around the world means, is that he's gonna go like, we're gonna see a flashback with everybody, and then eventually Desmond is going to appear in every single one. He's going to be the constant common denominator. But Jack is the only person that Desmond recognizes, at least of the people who Desmond has run into. So maybe that is the case. Maybe he does recruit like Rose or something. I don't know.
I'm a little surprised that nobody really, just getting a little bit ahead of myself, but everybody asked Desmond, they'll ask him quite a few questions. Not so much Locke, but they ask him quite a few questions. Nobody is just like, hey, where are we? You know? Do you know where we are?
That's a good point. Oh, it didn't even occur to me either.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. Survivor brain, I guess.
Once again,
that's a great question.
Everybody makes fun of me for all these things I've been saying about the island and my strategy for being on the island, but apparently I'm the only person with the place of mind to think, hey, underground man, where are we?
Yeah.
Any ideas?
You were on this race. Do you remember where you were?
Where were you before? Yeah. You know?
But yeah, he just like dips out. Oh, wait, that doesn't happen in this one. Whatever. God dang. Okay. Season 2, episode 2. Adrift.
I gotta say, 5-star episode.
Yes.
5-star episode for me.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna give it a 4.
Okay.
Because I don't like Jack, which I think is gonna be a tough ceiling for the rest of this show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, also, yeah. So again, on like people dismissing Shannon, and during Jack's speech where he's like, "Okay, we're gonna dig deep and we're gonna get through tonight. It's gonna be all right." Shannon asks Jack when they return, "Did you see the others?" And Charlie's like, "Shut the fuck up, dude. Like, stop. Like, don't ask about the others." And that really made me mad because like that's a really good question. What the heck? Well, that's very valid. I think that's a that's a pretty present concern.
Sure.
Anyway,
I mean, it is, Are we down any women at this point? Yeah, sort of. We're joking about it, but it is kind of
I mean, you downward women.
it's kind of misogyny. I mean, did any die? Have any died?
Don't say it like that. We're down a couple of broads.
We're down a couple guys. We're down a couple guys lately. My point is, it really is misogyny island as of late. You were joking about the Claire thing, but the fellas kind of are at it.
Yeah,
they are at it big time.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Joanna died.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. So okay, whatever.
We're down one woman. Okay. Season 2, episode 2, Adrift. Air date September 28th, 2005. Directed by Stephen Williams. Written by Stephen Maida and Leonard Dick. This is the second most watched episode in series history, which was a bit of a letdown, I think, for people. This is kind of a filler, my opinion. Okay. In the flashbacks, Michael fights with his ex-girlfriend Susan over custody of their son Walt.
Yeah.
Susan pressures Michael to give up his parental rights, and although he initially resists, he eventually doubts his motivations. After Susan convinces him that he may be acting out of personal desire rather than thinking of Walt's best interests. Reluctantly, Michael agrees to give up custody, leaving him emotionally burdened. And again, I still don't get Susan's angle on this. Like, why are you doing this?
She wants to be with Michael Douglas or whatever that guy's name is.
Brian
Wilson.
Porter.
Brian Porter.
Brian Porter.
She wants to be with the Beach Boy guy.
Is Brian Porter a Beach Boy?
No,
is that a member of the
I said Brian Wilson, and Brian Wilson,
okay.
I think, is the Beach Boys lead guy.
Okay. Because I'm going back to they say Brian Porter like it's a famous person's name, and am I just missing that? Okay.
That would be a good, fun little thing. Just put a celebrity in there to be this mostly throwaway character who's a bad dad. No reason for anybody to like this guy at all.
With no real thematic
payoff.
significance either. Yeah, no payoff. Exactly.
It's just, this is my husband, Richard Gere, or something like that. And then Richard Gere is like, random Michael guy from New York, please take your son back. Let me disappear.
Even better if it'd be just named after, somebody, but it isn't like. Although knowing this show, it's like, have you met my boyfriend, Rene Descartes?
Yeah.
No payoff at all. Yeah. Okay. On the island, after the raft is attacked by the others and destroyed, Sawyer surfaces in the ocean and hears Michael frantically screaming for Walt. By the way, I started watching Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol today. Sawyer's in that. He's right up top. He's the agent that gets killed at the beginning of that. And I swear to God, I haven't seen anybody say this on the internet, but I think Matthew Fox is the your mission should you choose to accept it voice in Ghost Protocol. It's uncredited. No one's credited him in the thing, but that came in 2011. This show ended in 2010. It's a Bad Robot production. The J.J. Abrams connection is there. I'm telling you.
I can't remember the voice that well, but it seems like he has kind of a whiny voice, so.
He does. It's distinctive. It's not like a cool
oh, okay.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it. It's very, your mission, should you choose to accept it.
Okay.
I know that bitch anywhere. That's.
Did you confirm it? Is this a true?
No, I couldn't find anything about it.
Okay.
True facts stated.
It's a Will
over here.
I mean, I've been doing my Ben
This is a Will fact.
Ben facts, Ben misdirection. So just curious. Okay.
Yeah. I'm being paid by the Russian government $100,000 to make this point on this podcast about Matthew Fox being in Mission Impossible. Okay. Sawyer surfaces in the ocean and hears Michael frantically screaming for Walt. Despite his own injuries, Sawyer swims to save Michael, dragging him onto a piece of flotsam and performing CPR.
Why is everything... if it's on land, I mean, I guess obviously if it's on land, it's not floating, so it's not flotsam. But like, why is everybody got to be? Oh, we're out at ocean, so we got some flotsam and jetsam. How about just trash? How about you just call it floating trash?
Dude, I love flotsam. I hate jetsam. Like, give me flotsam every time, 10 times out of 10. I don't need that jetsam bullshit around me. I've also in the Google summary for this episode that I did not copy into this. They like make a big point to say like Sawyer does mouth to mouth on Michael. That's how they say it. Instead of like revives Michael or something, they're like they specifically call out Sawyer does mouth to mouth on Michael. And calling it mouth to mouth, not mouth to mouth resuscitation. Yeah. Just
yeah.
All right. Once revived, Michael blames Sawyer for firing the flare that he believes drew the attackers. The two argue as a shark circles them, increasing the tension. And we see the tail of the shark. It's got a logo on it. I think, or maybe is that in the next episode? No, I think it's this episode.
Yeah.
Okay, at some point in these stretch of 4, if you've seen these 4 episodes, we're not jumping ahead or whatever, but we see like a sigil or crest or logo going on in the bunker, and it's the Dharma Initiative.
Yep.
And that same logo is on the shark, and that's that we'll get into Dharma Initiative later, but I just want to call that out. Sure. The two argue as the shark circles them, increasing the tension. Despite their disagreements, they survive together by clinging to the debris. At the survivors' camp, John Locke descends into the hatch after Kate and finds her unconscious. They are confronted by Desmond, who mistakes Locke for someone he's been waiting for. He's like, "Are you him?" And Locke's like, "I'm him." And I gotta say, as the number one Locke fan on this podcast, Locke is undeniably him. He's him, baby.
But he wimps out. He doesn't do a good job of getting past that point. But to be fair,
he does a pretty good job. It's not like it's not like
he's very quickly outed.
Oh yeah, he's outed pretty quick. But
he's a new
like, "Are you him?" And he's like,
liar.
"I'm him."
A lifelong liar would have done better. But Locke is...
Yeah, he's got the confidence, but not the lie. Not the words. Because
he has the will. He has the desire to be a liar guy, but he doesn't have... I don't think he has the confidence that comes with the practice needed to be a full-time liar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Desmond's like, "Are you him?" He's like, "Yes, I'm him." And then he goes, "Well, who's she?" Pointing to Kate.
Her.
And Locke kind of looks around. He's like, "She's with me," and like that kind of works. But then Desmond's like, "Okay," and he says like a code phrase or something like, "When does the circle become square?" And Locke just goes, "I don't know what you're talking about." And he's like, "Okay."
I think
here's a gun.
That's a good. To be fair to Locke, that is a good response, because in just as many situations somebody does that, and if you give them a response, then you find out later, "Oh, I just made that shit up on the spot."
Yeah, that's true. It's like, he should have been like, "I don't know what you're talking about. We don't have time for this. Let's move."
Yeah.
As an experienced liar, I could give him some advice. Desmond forces Kate to tie up Locke, but Locke convinces Desmond to tie up Kate instead. A very, very slick move. He's like, "What are you talking about? You should tie her up. She's a fugitive." Kate escapes, also, discovers a pantry.
I don't know if I will call it slick, but I will say that Desmond is very dumb to do that. He's quickly convinced by something you should be like, no to. Your response should just be, no.
No. I'm just gonna tie up both of you. Something like that. I mean, it works because very soon he's just kind of some kind of dumbass who got like roped into this or whatever. Like, it's not that he isn't some kind of a supervillain style character. So yeah, I guess he's just kind of some dope. But yeah, Kate discovers a pantry stocked with food and hides in Ben's favorite location, the vent, a ventilation shaft. Desmond interrogates Locke about the outside world and learns of the plane crash. The story converges with the previous episode as Desmond forces Locke to input the numbers into a computer, resetting a 108-minute timer. We hear the sequence of numbers, and it's the numbers that Hurley's all upset about, and it's the numbers that are on the hatch, et cetera, et cetera.
Did you know them
Meanwhile,
yet? Do you have them memorized yet?
Oh, yeah. 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42.
Okay.
Right?
I think you're right.
Okay. Meanwhile, Michael and Sawyer find one of the raft's pontoons, fend off a shark, and eventually wash ashore, reuniting with Jin, who is fleeing from the others. And this was a very scary final shot to me.
Sure.
Because they like darken the exposure. They're just all silhouetted against the sky. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, they're zombies. We're talking about like the sickness that's going around or whatever. They're like, are they sick out there? You've been zombied. Yeah, okay. Oh, this was so funny. Susan trying to convince Michael to give up Walt is saying, you got to quit thinking about your kid and focus on your art.
Another trick for a child.
I mean, it could be somebody's ideal partner.
Yeah.
Okay. This episode of Lost on Ice is brought to you by us. Thank you for listening to the podcast. It is a lot of work to put together these episodes, so if you'd like to support us, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. This is usually the part of the podcast where you hear an advertisement, but again, this week we are enemies with Riverside.fm. It's a terrible service. You should not give your money to that website. If you want to make a podcast, go anywhere else. Thank you for listening. All right, so let's talk about Season 2, Episode 3, Orientation. I liked this one a lot. This episode. This might be my fave. Air date October 5, 2005. Oh, sorry. Rating for the last episode. I'm going to give that one. I'll give it a 3.
I'll give it a 4.
Nice. Orientation aired October 5th, 2005. Directed by Jack Bender. Written by Javier Grillo Marchot and Craig Wright. In the flashbacks, Locke is seen participating in a support group where he emotionally recounts the betrayal by his father, who deceived him. He's like laughing at the support group people. He's snickering at them.
He's the Joker over there.
Mm-hmm. To me, trauma is funny, he's saying.
Yeah.
Helen Norwood, a fellow group member, sympathizes with Locke. They start a romantic relationship. She comes into the parking lot and she's like, what a bunch of freaks. Get over it. Very good. Despite their bond, Locke is unable to move on from his obsession with his father, frequently stalking him outside his estate. His father confronts Locke, coldly telling him that he is unwanted. On their 6th-month anniversary, Helen gives Locke a key to her house, asking him to stop visiting his father's home. Locke agrees, but he cannot keep his word. Helen follows him and confronts him, saying that he must take a leap of faith to move on from his father's betrayal and to embrace their relationship. Is Helen the name of the person that Locke was on the phone with?
Is it? Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
But what's the relation? Unclear at the end of these episodes, I would say.
Okay. Oh, is he finding somebody named Helen? All right. Okay, just thank you for reminding me that was the same name.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do they have the same voice on the phone?
I don't remember. I'm gonna have to live it like it was 2005 and just wait for any potential reveals in the future.
Yeah.
Because if I recall, the person he was talking to on the phone earlier was some sort of sex worker that had a professional relationship with Locke, not a like, this is I'm not calling my wife or my girlfriend back home. You're paying for this. And it ended up getting too intense, as I recall. She had to cut it off. So presumably not the same person. What is this, like a Vertigo type situation where he's just like, I want you to be called Helen, and I'm gonna fixate on you. I don't know. Okay, in the hatch, Jack, Locke, and Desmond clash, creating a distraction that allows Kate to knock Desmond down. However, Desmond fires a shot, damaging the computer, which he claims must be fixed or everyone will die. Kate leaves through an alternative exit to fetch Saeed for help. Desmond explains that his boat crashed on the island 3 years earlier, and since then, he's been tasked with inputting a code into the computer every 108 minutes to prevent the end of the world. Jack is skeptical, believing it's all part of a social experiment, but Locke takes the warnings seriously. A 1980 orientation film explains that the hatch is part of the Dharma Initiative, a research project, and warns viewers to keep inputting the code to avoid a disastrous incident. Crucially, though, this orientation seems to be speaking to partners. They say you and your partner must do this. Desmond was by himself. When Saeed fixes the computer, Locke urges Jack to press the button after he inputs the code, seeing it as a leap of faith. Jack refuses at first, but as the timer runs out, he reluctantly hits the button, resetting the 108-minute countdown. Elsewhere on the island, Michael, Sawyer, and Jin are captured by the others and thrown into a pit. Ana Lucia Cortez, Michelle Rodriguez, a fellow survivor from the tail section of the plane, is also thrown in, but later reveals she was planted there to gather information. That's how the summary puts it. It's not necessarily how I would say it. But, yeah. This was a great episode. There's some interesting things happening.
I hate Ana Lucia, though. Gotta say. Sorry. Never gonna like her the rest of the series either, but...
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I hate Jack, too. They're both, main character.
I like Ana Lucia.
Main character style people. Don't like that. Please.
Okay.
Chill out. Chill out a little bit, both of you.
Gotcha. Yeah, she does seem pretty hardcore. But yeah, so Jack chases down Desmond is like, when he realizes that like the computer is gonna, they don't think that they're gonna be able to save the computer in time. He's like, I'm getting out of here. I'm getting as far away as possible. And Jack like chases him down, has this like, stare down in the woods, and that's when Desmond finally recognizes him and says, "Oh, you're that guy that I met in L.A." Yeah, I guess they were in L.A. at the time. I thought they were out in Boston, but whatever. And then like he's like, you told me about this like patient of yours that was injured and you weren't going to be able to save her. What happened? And Jack's like, I married her. And so like this kind of reminds Jack of this like faith this leap of faith or this like miracle that happened, because he said like it's gonna take a miracle to save her, and save her he did, and that's kind of what prompts Jack to return to the bunker and take that leap of faith and input that code, rather than let the counter expire. Mm-hmm. I thought that was great. I thought that was really great. I do have to call out, I don't know, Sawyer's nicknames. Like, don't call that guy Shaft, please.
Oh yeah. Not so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Things are happening this season. Another
on the nicknames. Sorry, I just got a little behind the scenes question. Do you think like when they write those out, like, is there just a guy that's like, yeah, and then Sawyer would say this, and then like, man, you got a lot of nicknames off the top of your head, or do you think they like write it out and they're like, and then you would probably call him a bad name, and then they turn to the racist on staff and they're like, what's the next one up?
Yeah, hey Cletus, what do you think? He call him.
Yeah.
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 I'm guessing
Or do,
I think these are very.
or if you're a writer and then a director and you're very like nervous, are you just leaving that up to the actor and you're like, and then you would say a really
What do you think about this
problematic
guy?
name, and I just want you to riff.
Yeah.
I just want you to riff
Hey,
on
Josh
it.
Holloway.
Just look,
go for it.
look them straight in the eyes.
We'll do 10 to 20 on this. Just do a bunch of variations. Just come up with a bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're I think they're very deliberately written. I mean, of course it's written, but like I think it's I think we've run into a couple of things in this show so far where the nicknames are like he can't just be saying outright slurs because it's TV, and he needs to be saying things that are like not going to be too off-putting to an audience because we see he's got to be a lovable asshole character. But since it's 20 years ago, it's hitting way different now. It's yeah.
Am I wrong about this? Like, I only learned about Shaft, I think, like in the last 3 to 4 years. Is that one of those like Megamind, racist guys like no, like a deep cut type thing, or is
no? It's a famous movie.
I know it's famous, but is it the genuine question though? Is it that famous? Is it famous that most people would know it?
I mean, I don't know what you say most, but I don't know. I think it's a famous movie. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't know. I don't think you have to be a racist to know about Shaft, I guess is the point.
Okay, I'm just curious because some of Sawyer's things, they're in that very more, extra level of being racist or problematic at least of like,
yeah,
that seems like a deeper cut,
Right. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, so on this episode, I am a huge sucker for like a mysterious organization's orientation material. Like I love that. I would watch that stuff all day long. I played this game Control a couple years ago. Yeah, it's 100% my kind of thing. That's sure. I love that stuff.
Yeah. That conversation between I'm surprised that conversation between Jack and Locke is not clipped and used as a GIF or a little reaction thing online more often, or on Letterboxd or something like that, of when he's like, Locke's like, well, we got to watch that one again. And Jack's like, are you really going to watch it again? And Locke's like, absolutely, aren't you? And Jack's like, no way.
Oh, and walks away. Yeah. I thought you were going to say, maybe that's showing up on Letterboxd, but this is showing up on Tumblr, is Jack Locke, the couple name, where Locke is pleading with Jack to enter into this partnership with him and says, I can't do it alone. And Jack ends up and, pushes enter on it, pushes execute.
Yeah.
Season 2, episode 4. Actually, sorry. I'm going to give that one a 4 out of 5. That's a 4 out of 5 episode to me.
I'll give that one a 5. It's a big one for me too.
Okay. I feel like I should give it a 5. Then well, whatever. Why am I only giving it a 4? Whatever. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Just don't question it. It doesn't matter too much. Okay. Season 2, episode 4. Everybody Hates Hugo. Air date, October 12th, 2005. Directed by Alan Taylor, who I think ended up directing a bunch of the Game of Thrones episodes. That's where I know him from. But written by Edward Kitsis and Adam Horowitz. In this episode, flashbacks reveal why Hurley is hesitant at his new job of distributing found food in the newly discovered Swan Station, Station 3, this bunker that they're in. Meanwhile, a few castaways become worried that the raft sent by them for rescue may have not gone as far as they hoped. Jack and Saeed explore the hatch while Sawyer, Jin, and Michael find out that their captors are from the tail section of the plane. Okay, so we get flashbacks about Hurley. And I'm not liking how they did this. I am upset with how they portrayed Hugo. Or in this, he's like imagining like eating all that food. I'm like, come on, man. We have bad culture when it comes to weight and food and things like that. Okay. In the flashbacks, after Hugo wins the lottery using the infamous numbers, he keeps his newfound wealth a secret. Hurley and his friend Johnny quit their fast food jobs and enjoy pulling pranks, including one of their former boss. This was great. Johnny, the friend, Zoe was like, "Is that the skinny pirate from Pirates of the Caribbean?" It is not.
No, but it's the guy from Breaking Bad.
DJ Qualls is his name.
DJ Qualls. Okay.
Let's see.
I think he's one of the drug dealers in Breaking Bad, isn't he? Something like that. No. Okay, never mind.
Oh man, I don't want to be this kind of guy where like you Google him and the first question is, if you Google DJ Qualls, at least when I do it, the first people I also ask is, does DJ Qualls have a medical condition? Does he? No, I'm last. Yes, okay, he does. Jesus. All right. All right, whoever edits this, just cut all of this. Anyway, they quit their fast food jobs and enjoy pulling pranks, including one of their former boss. Hurley musters the courage to ask out his crush, Starla, in a very touching scene. I thought that was great. And Johnny promises that their friendship will never change despite Hurley's lottery win.
Wait, sorry. This guy wasn't Breaking Bad. This guy was in Breaking Bad.
Nice. As who? As Walter White?
Yes. Okay. Albuquerque police detective who takes part in the undercover operation. It's the one, you remember they're sitting on the bench and they're doing the I
assume this is in one of the seasons I skipped.
Oh yeah, you skipped it all. Yeah. He's for people who watch the show, he's the cop. Like me. He's the cop in the thing on the bench where the other guy, whatever his name's like Badger or something like that, where he's like, if you're a cop, you have to tell me. And he's like, you just asked me, are you a cop? And then he asks him, he's like, yeah, or no. I forget, whatever. Anyway, it's that guy. Just one.
Sounds
one
awesome.
Episode.
Sounds like a good show.
Yeah.
Definitely not worth spending a bunch of time watching the seasons. You could just watch the first and the last season. Easy. That's what I should do. That's what I should be doing with this show. Is I just watch the first and last season of Lost and just make up all of the stuff in between. Okay. However, at a gas station, the clerk loudly announces Hurley's win to the news crews. Johnny's stunned reaction reveals that despite his promise...
Is that how you win the lottery? Is that how it works?
There he is. There's that guy.
The guys know? How would the guy know? I don't really understand how lottery stuff works.
Maybe the guy just remembered what everybody...
he's a numbers
He's good with faces.
He just remembers everybody's
numbers. Or Hurley was the only one to buy a lottery ticket when you
buy... See, again, don't really gamble. When you buy a lottery ticket, you always pick the numbers. I thought they just give you a random ticket.
I think it depends. I think you can pick like Powerball. It's like you pick your numbers.
Interesting. So they let you pick the numbers, or they just give you maybe a random one.
Yeah. Also, is playing the lottery, is that gambling? Does that count as gambling?
Yeah. I would say so. Why wouldn't it?
I feel like gambling has to be like dice or cards.
You're literally you're betting money. The lottery is the definition of gambling to me. The other stuff is more of a
it has to be in a casino.
No, I feel like gambling is.
I mean, I know that
a casino is a type
of, but for some reason it doesn't feel like gambling.
A casino is a type of gas station, so that's gambling happens at a gas station. Huh. Okay.
Gotcha. Johnny's stunned reaction reveals that despite his promise to Hurley, everything has already changed between the two friends. On the island, Hurley struggles with the overwhelming responsibility of rationing the food found in the Swan Station's pantry. Charlie pressures Hurley about whether there is peanut butter for Claire, but Hurley refuses to confirm. Dude, Charlie, as much as I hate Jack, I'm done with Charlie, dude. He's got no utility. He is the least valuable player. At least Jack can, fix somebody up, being doctor style. But Charlie's so annoying, dude. God damn. Hurley asks Rose for help taking inventory of the food, but he feels increasingly trapped by his role as it reminds him of the stress that he felt after winning the lottery. Hurley even dreams of Jin telling him in English that everything is going to change.
Yeah.
I wonder how
really
many
fun when Daniel Day Kim does that, I gotta say.
Yes, I wonder how many like 2004 watchers were like, "Yo, that guy can actually speak English."
I think you underestimate the star power of Daniel Day Kim. He's a big guy.
He is.
But I think people
I
knew him as a big guy.
Oh, already? Gotcha.
I think that's another vibe, a band vibe fact.
Nice.
But
this is such a good show because like this would be a great opportunity to like in retrospect we can approach this show with like a lot of like research and like information to bring to this but it's still just vibes. Yeah. Overwhelmed, Hurley plans to destroy the food supply using the dynamite. Rose stops him, and Hurley explains the food will change the survivors' dynamics, much like his lottery win changed his relationships. And it makes sense. I feel for him. It seems like a bad situation to be in. Hurley ultimately decides to distribute all the food freely among the survivors and allowing them to enjoy a feast. That's a great call, I think. That's the move. He says like there's like enough food for one guy for 3 more months. This isn't going to stretch us that long. Let's just have ourselves a night to remember.
Yeah. Another question, see if I was there and I had met Mr. Desmond, first question, where are we? Second question, are you Australian or are you Scottish? I'm having a hard time pinning that down. Third question, where'd you get the food? Disagree?
I guess I assumed it was just already there.
Well, see, as they teach you in second grade, kindergarten, assuming makes an ass out of you and me. See,
dude, yeah, I would have missed the next shipment.
I would have asked. Yeah. Where'd you get that food?
Mm-hmm. Hurley's decision is well received, and Charlie reconciles with the man, giving him a grateful hug. Meanwhile, Sawyer, Michael, and Jin learn that their captors are the tail section survivors of Oceanic 815. Libby, one of the new ones, reveals that there were originally 23 survivors, but few remain. The survivors also discover the bottle of messages from the raft, and Sun, the main survivors, discover the bottle of messages from the raft, and Sun decides to bury it on the beach.
While everybody else is feasting.
Everyone be feasting. Jack and Saeed inspect a mysterious concrete barrier in the bunker and find it is impassably thick. Saeed's move in this episode is to like wait for a main character to show up and then take a break from just like awkwardly banging a piece of titanium on the wall. And Jack comes through and he's like, Saeed, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, thank God you're here. There's no way we're getting through this wall. It's like, why were you doing that, dude?
Yeah. Very like video game NPC type vibe where a guy just infinitely toiling away until you show up and then together we can
figure
this out in
Come with
30
me.
seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that this is how the summary ends this episode on, even though it is not at the end of the episode. Jack and Kate share a moment of sexual tension.
Wait, did they mention? Did I miss it? Did they mention the Rose thing? Rose and her husband?
No, that also happens.
so much bigger than a moment of sexual tension.
Cut to black, sexual tension, then boom, lost. No, yeah, that the Rose moment's great.
Yeah.
Rose has been talking about how her husband Bernard is okay, and everyone's like, again, these unreasonable women on our island, we can't trust them with anything. There's no way your husband's still alive. He was in the tail section of the plane. And then when Jin and Sawyer and Michael are picked up by the tail section of the plane survivors, a middle-aged man comes over and asks, excuse me.
A middle-aged man.
Am I wrong on that?
I gotta say he's an old guy. He's no offense to the actor, but that's an old guy. All these other people are middle-aged people. Kate is a middle-aged woman. Sawyer is a middle-aged man.
Are we middle-aged?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, definitely. If you're in your
middle-aged is like
30s,
50, 60.
What do you call yourself now if you don't think you're... As soon as you're 30, you're middle-aged. It's a big zone. It's a big zone.
I'm just getting going, boy. I'm heating up.
I don't even know. I don't know what your definition is, but that guy is an old guy. I like objectively. He's not even. This guy's not in his 30s. This guy's not in his 40s. This guy's not in his 50s. This guy's in his 60s. Easy.
He's like 50s or 60s.
Yeah, he's 60s. 60s to 70s.
Ben, I've got an answer for you. I've Googled middle ages years, and it turns out you don't hit middle age until 500 to 1400 to 1500 CE.
Nice.
Okay. Middle-aged. Between ages of 40 and 60.
So this guy's older than middle-aged. Easy then, yeah.
No, he's in his 50s.
This guy is definitely in his 60s or 70s.
He could maybe be in his 60s.
Or 70s, most likely. 60s, I would say.
Here we go. Wikipedia says this time span is generally referred to as middle age and can be defined as the time of ages about 40 to 45 to about 60 to 65.
Okay, everyone watching this, listening to this, look up Bernard Rose Lost. Tell me how old you think these people are. And it better start with a 6 or a 7.
Write in with a 6 or a 7 to Dr. Skeleton's Art School at gmail.com.
I don't know why I'm telling you to look it up. I guess presumably you're watching the show. If you're listening to us and you're not watching the show, very funny. Yeah.
No, dude. This guy, I'm looking at him now. He is... Yeah, maybe in his 60s.
He's in his 60s.
Wait, hold on. He could be in his 50s.
No, he couldn't. This guy's 60s. This guy could be pushing 80.
Stop it. You don't know anything.
These two, I guess a little bit of a spoiler that they meet each other, but not really. Rose, Bernard, a couple.
Well, okay, let's see. How old is this actor?
60 to 70-year-olds. He's going to be like 100 now.
Sam and Anderson. Right now, he is 79.
Oh!
So 79 minus 20 is 59.
60.
Bro, he's
60.
You're like he's 7. You're like this guy is 80. You said that he's 80 in the show.
No, let's see. No,
I am.
How do you know his
on
age?
With this? Oh,
he's definitely portraying. He's definitely portraying an older guy.
Shut your damn mouth. No, he's not.
This guy's an old guy, not a middle-aged guy.
He's not an
Dude,
old
how can it be
guy.
middle-aged if people die during that period?
People die at every period,
but not as much as that age range.
You think we're middle-aged right now?
Yes. What are we if we're not middle-aged?
We're young. We're just young. We're innocent young men.
What was the range again? 650 to 60?
45 to 65.
45 to 65. Now you changed this thing, but okay, fine, whatever.
I'm looking at Wikipedia.
I would say we are middle-aged, definitely. But okay, fine. I'd like to know what people call us then.
I think we're children still, essentially.
No.
Listen, how about this? Let's see what the news happens if one of us, a white guy who's 30 years old, goes and kills someone. They're gonna say
a middle-aged. They're gonna say a middle-aged white man.
No, they're gonna be like, oh, no. If we go do a hate crime and we have to go to court, they're gonna all the media is gonna be like, look at this child. He didn't know what he was doing. That'll be our barometer. Okay. What are we talking about?
Lost.
Oh, Shannon is really tall. That's something I found out about in this episode.
You couldn't tell?
She stands next to Claire.
Yeah, she's big. Claire's tiny. As well. It's true.
There you go.
It's true. Which is she a real Australian person, the actress? Because I think Australia has a reputation of being tall. So that's surprising.
Well, she's from the part of Australia where the gravity is really strong, and so she's short.
Sure.
Ooh, can I tell you another theory I have about the show as we wrap up here today? Time loop.
Say it.
The events of the island, they are going to somehow revisit the events of the plane crash, and they're going to be trying to change what happens somehow. I don't know why. I don't know what something about. I think maybe the orientation is still sticking in my head. But
I'm looking at the viewers on this one.
Get a load of this guy.
Get a load of this guy.
Yeah. No, it's just theory. All right, so that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast. Thanks for listening. If you like the show and want to hear from more from Ben and I, consider joining our Patreon, patreon.com/Dr. Skeleton. That's Dr. Skeleton. Every week, Ben and I release a bonus hangout show and get into the stuff that's simply just too hot for the main feed. This week, I will be disclosing everything I know about the recent shooting at the former president.
Hours ago. Didn't even know about this. Honestly, I've been taking a nap, so
breaking news.
You'll be breaking news to me.
Every week, we establish a new alibi for where we were on the show during the time of the recording. You can write into the show at drskeletonsartschool@gmail.com. Next week, we are watching season 2, episodes 5, 6, 7, and 8. The next 4. All right. Thanks.
After this series, we should do Lost Out of Context, and we just skip around different episodes every week.
I was thinking, because we did that with Bond, and we could just... we should pick let's pick a show that is like definitely necessary to watch them in order and just hit random. That actually would be a kind of a fun concept. Okay. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Watch the next 4 for next episode. Bye.